Most organizations today are deploying AI at speed, but when it comes to assessing risk, they either overcomplicate the process or completely miss critical areas. I've seen teams spend weeks debating risks without a clear structure, and others just tick boxes without really understanding what could go wrong. The reality is, AI risk assessment is not as complex as it sounds, but it does require a structured approach. If you don't know what to look for, you'll either miss major risks or waste time on things that don't matter. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a simple, practical, step-by-step approach to performing an AI risk assessment, something you can actually apply in your organization right away. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear 5-step framework to perform an AI risk assessment. You'll understand what exactly you need to evaluate, how to structure your thinking, and how to apply this in a real-world scenario. I'll also share practical tips that I've seen work in organizations, so you're not just learning theory, you're learning something you can actually use, whether you're in risk, privacy, cybersecurity, or even a business role. This approach will help you assess AI systems more effectively. The first step is to clearly define the AI use case. This might sound simple, but it's often overlooked. You need to understand what the AI system is doing, where it is being used, and who it impacts. For example, is it being used for hiring decisions, fraud detection, or customer support? Each of these use cases carries very different risks. You should also identify stakeholders who is affected by the output of this AI system: customers, employees, or third parties. Without a clear understanding of the use case, it's almost impossible to assess risk effectively. So spend time getting this right before moving to the next step. Once the use case is defined, the next step is to identify potential risks. This is where you systematically think through what could go wrong. Start with common AI risks: bias, where decisions may be unfair; data leakage, where sensitive information could be exposed; lack of explainability, where decisions cannot be justified; and security risks, such as adversarial attacks. Also consider compliance risks. Are there regulatory requirements that apply to this AI system? A practical way to do this is to use a checklist or framework to ensure you don't miss key areas. The goal here is not to be perfect, but to create a comprehensive list of potential risks that you can evaluate further. After identifying risks, the next step is to assess their severity. This is typically done by evaluating two things: impact and likelihood. Impact refers to how serious the consequences would be if the risk materializes. For example, a biased hiring decision might have legal and reputational consequences. Likelihood refers to how probable it is that this risk will occur. By combining impact and likelihood, you can prioritize risks. Not all risks are equal. Some require immediate attention, while others can be monitored over time. This step helps you focus your efforts where it matters most, rather than trying to address everything at once. Once risks are prioritized, the next step is to define controls. Controls are measures you put in place to reduce or manage risk. For example, to address bias, you might implement bias testing and diverse training data. To prevent data leakage, you can apply access controls and data masking techniques. Validation is also critical, ensuring the model performs as expected before deployment. And finally, monitoring. AI systems need to be continuously monitored to detect changes in performance or emerging risks. The key here is to align controls with the specific risks you identified, rather than applying generic measure. The final step is documentation and ongoing monitoring. All identified risks, their assessments, and the controls you've defined should be documented in a structured way, typically in an AI risk register. This ensures transparency and accountability. It also helps when you need to demonstrate compliance to regulators or auditors, but it doesn't stop there. AI systems evolve, data changes, and new risks can emerge. That's why continuous monitoring is essential. Think of AI risk assessment not as a one-time task, but as an ongoing process that evolves with the system. Let's quickly apply this to a real example. Imagine an AI system used for screening job candidates. First, define the use case. It's used in recruitment and impacts candidates. Next, identify risks: bias in selection, lack of transparency, and potential legal issues. Then assess impact and likelihood. Bias could have high impact and moderate likelihood. Define controls, bias testing, human review, and explainability mechanisms. Finally, document everything and monitor outcomes over time. This structured approach makes the assessment practical and actionable. To summarize, performing an AI risk assessment doesn't have to be complicated. You just need a structured approach. Start by defining the use case, identify potential risks, assess their impact and likelihood, implement appropriate controls, and continuously monitor the system. If you follow these 5 steps, you'll be able to assess AI risks in a practical and effective way. If you want to go deeper, I've created a complete course where I walk through AI risk assessments in detail, including templates, frameworks, and real world examples. I've also included a free AI risk assessment checklist that you can start using immediately. You'll find both links in the description below. And if this video helped you, make sure to subscribe. I'll be sharing more practical content on AI risk, governance, and security.